Hey Cosmic Witches! Divine Gossip Girls here, your one and only source into the spiritual happenings of the cosmos.
Ever wonder what this month's energy will have in store for you? What the planets and stars are even up to? Or if the universe can just help you catch a break already?
Well, lucky you, because we have all the spiritual secrets to tell. Get ready to sip on your weekly dose of divine tea. Hi, Cosmic Witches, and welcome to the first episode on the Divine Gossip Girls podcast.
Oh my god, we're here!
This is something we've been working on for a while now that we've had as an idea at the back of our minds since before the summer, really, but I think this summer we were really like, this needs to happen. So I'm kind of in disbelief that we're finally here.
Oh my goodness, I'm super excited to finally be creating this first episode for you guys, and we're going to be sharing who we are. I'm sure if you're here, you probably know at least one of us, but we're going to share who we are and how we really met for this first episode.
We decided to start the podcast because we love creating together. I think we all have very similar beliefs and morals and alignments, but we also practice our spirituality and practice our craft in such different ways. Like, we have crossovers, but we all have our different specialities and corners that we go to. And so this was really fun for us to get our knowledge out there, but also just to talk about the energy of what's going on right now, what we see is going on with our communities, our clients, ourselves, and just kind of get real about how we're all feeling and how we can move through it.
Yes. I feel like this podcast is going to be a beautiful, like when we are coming with the idea of, okay, what do we want the energy behind the podcast to be? It was like very much like three cosmic spiritual friends in a coffee shop, and you're tuning into our conversations every week. And we just want it to be like a space where you feel welcome to dive into your spirituality, as a lot of us don't feel like we can do that in our day-to-day lives. Sometimes we feel like those blocks, those barriers, or we just don't feel accepted in it. So we want this space to really be an invitation for you to feel safe in your spirituality and to explore it and dive deeper into different ideas, different modalities, different like energetic ways of looking at spirituality and diving into it. So yeah, let's just dive into intros. So I guess I can take it away.
Go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I am Karlie. I am a spiritual life transformation coach and a Reiki master practitioner. So I work with women all around tapping into spiritual healing and really diving into embodying self-love, empowering beliefs, and stepping into their next level where their frequency is higher so that they can manifest abundant things, feel good things into their lives. So that's a bit about me. I run my business mostly on Instagram, as the three of us do, but I began my work about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago now, and that's how I ran into these two other lovely witches. Maggie, do you want to go?
Sure, I am Maggie. Nice to meet you. I'm Canadian, but I'm currently living in the EU, so most of the time you'll find me in Copenhagen, but I'm kind of all over the place. A lot of the time, travel is a big part of my manifestation kind of goals and routines, but I am super woo-woo. I am up in the stars, up in the clouds most of the time. I started my business as just a cheeky little tarot business. Like, it was nothing that I thought was going to be too wild. I remember writing in my manifestation journal that I just wanted it to be able to pay my rent, I think it was. I was like, I would love it if it could pay my rent, half of my rent, which wasn't much at the time. And now it's my full-time job. So that's really cool. But I started as a tarot reader. I still read tarot, but I also am a certified past life regression practitioner. And I love astrology. I love just working with energy and all things sort of witchy, magical. Crystals. I worked in a crystal shop for years. It's just sort of my vibe, and I just love learning more and more, so I'm sure this list will grow as the podcast goes on. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I just like to help people find their magic.
I love that. Oh my goodness. And now you've got your silly Scottish spiritual gal. So, hi everyone, I am Sophie. I am so honoured and grateful to be here, to be sat in front of Karlie and Maggie and creating like content and podcasts like this. This was just literally a dream for me. Like, I think it was like 3 years ago when I left. I finally graduated university with my Spanish and business graduate like degree, and I knew I wanted to do something like that I loved and that I could connect with people all over the world and I could love what I like got to do each and every day and that I could be myself in. But at that point, like, I had no idea like that was really even available to me, and now to just be sat here doing this work every day, it's just like a dream come true. So I hope that this podcast really allows you to be expanded by what we're creating together and what you can also create through your spirituality as well. So I am a subconscious healer and spiritual business coach as well. I'm also an EFT tapping practitioner, so I love kind of like melting subconscious healing and spirituality together. So I love like supporting purpose-led souls, but purpose-led entrepreneurs really shine and align from the inside out. My brand is Shine with Sophie, and I feel like I always come back to that. In everything that I do. So yeah, I feel like that is a little bit about me. I am a triplet. I love putting that in there because some people are like, tell me something unique about you. And I'm like, well, I guess something that's unique about me is that I'm a triplet. I have two brothers, and we're all completely different. And I have an underlying heart condition that has allowed me to remember how much of a miracle that I am and how brave I am. So yeah, I feel like that's what wanted to come through for you guys to know a little bit about me, not just about what I do, but who I am like as a soul, as a person. So yeah, I'm super grateful that you're here and to be in this space with you guys.
And we really have Sophie to thank for this podcast, for everything we do together, because I knew Sophie separately and Karlie knew Sophie separately, and she brought us together in a group program that she was doing. She had us both come in as experts, and then I think Karlie had the idea for doing like a New Year's challenge, and she said to Sophie, "Oh, do you want to do this New Year's challenge?" And Sophie was like, "Yeah, but I think we should invite Maggie."
Well, actually, Maggie, I'm pretty sure it was me who I told Sophie, I was like, we need to bring Maggie into here. And I only knew Maggie through Sophie, but before having this idea come through, it was like, I'm pretty sure I was meditating and I had this idea of us running a challenge in the new year. And the year before was like the first year I started my business, and I did like a little week-long thing, and I was like, I want to expand it. And Sophie and I had recorded a podcast or something. I remember this is the time I used to be a personal trainer, and I was like in a studio and I was just telling Sophie about this. Yeah, and I was like, and the vibes were so good. I was like, I think this is going to turn into something, and like, let's do this challenge, and like, let's bring Maggie in here. And I think I met Maggie like once before that, but I already had such a deep sort of trust with her. Like, we did a past life regression. I remember like right away, I just felt so connected to her energy. And I was like, I know this is the first time we're like meeting one on one, but I feel like I have had lives with you, and you can see right through my soul and I can see right through yours.
I'm pretty sure we literally chatted for an hour about just everything before we even got into the session. I'm a chatty person, so I will talk to people beforehand, but never as much as we spoke. And I said, okay, we should probably get into the session now. And it was a life-changing session for me because I was definitely stepping into that mediumship side and all of that. And I feel what people feel in their past life regressions. I feel what they are seeing, feeling, experiencing. But with you, Karlie, you went into past life regression and I saw it. Like, I saw you in it. And I remember you started talking to me and I said, wait, was it this? Because I wanted to describe it to you first, because I was like, I saw that. And you were like, yes. And so even with that, we had only connected that one time, but I thought, there's some sort of magic here, because not only was that expansive for you, but that was so expansive for me. as
I
well.
feel like this was just like always meant to happen, and I just want to like put that out there. If like you're listening to this, like know you're a part of something so fucking like magical and divine. Like this is divine. I know we're the divine gossip girls, and we are. Like this was divinely meant to happen. We not only met, like I met Maggie like 2 years ago, and Karlie 2 years ago. I met you both at very similar times, but in completely different places, like completely different like programs and spaces. And I was like on my own journey with both of you. But I actually remember, Karlie, like even when we were in that program, we weren't that close. Like we didn't like
No.
I didn't
How did I even
have a
connect with
real
you?
yeah, I didn't think I connected with you like on the
I
program, but it was
it
afterwards.
was
Like it was
after.
after the program we then started to like have that deeper connection and deeper relationship, and we started to do podcasts together and like have like catch up calls, and obviously I was building a relationship with Maggie, but I feel like this was just always meant to happen, and it really like that's why I started my intro of like I just need to give some gratitude to this, because this was, like I said, a dream, and it's like you never know how it's all going to unfold, but like to now look back and look at how it's all unfolded and how
Mm,
we've gotten to where we are now, it's just like this is just like how it was always meant to be, and like it's just so exciting that this is still like the start for us, you know?
right. I was just gonna say the funny thing about us three coming together too is like we've come together, but then the more that we're together, the more like the past life stuff starts to come
Yeah.
up. And just like when we're having conversations or we're sharing something, it's like, holy shit, like you've seen that too. And one of the core things that I know Sophie and I share is a really powerful vision that has come through to me multiple times is I'm in this circle of women around a campfire or like some sort of fire, and we're all kind of in like longer dresses. I don't really know what we're doing, but it's this group of powerful divine women, and we're kind of on a beach maybe. I don't know where
I
it
was gonna
is.
ask.
Yeah, it's like on a beach, and we're all surrounded by this campfire. And then all of a sudden, like I've asked multiple times as we're in that fire, like, what is my purpose? And it's like me starting to rise up, like it looks like I'm having like an exorcism or something, but it's like my head drops back and I start to rise up towards the sky. And I always get this mantra, we rise together. And then it's like I start to rise, and then all the women around me start to rise together, and it's like all of our souls are meant to ascend and rise together in consciousness. And I remember I shared that one time, and then Sophie had the same exact vision come through, but it was like at two separate times. Like she started talking about this vision of her around a campfire that she's had, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
And I
It's so
was
fun.
just sharing before this that I had a past life regression done very early when I connected with Sophie, and it was of me in this circle of women, and there was more to it, but one of the main things is we did these fire rituals in a circle in long gowns on the beach, and I know that in that life I like died, and I kind of passed the torch to Sophie. And I really, in my next past life regression, I'm thinking I would love to go back to that life to see, because it was basically like it was me, and now we're all on an even playing field, but it was me. I passed the torch to Sophie. Sophie led this group, and she had her little apprentice. And I am so sure that if I go back, that little apprentice is going to be you. It was like Sophie was my apprentice, and then you were her, and in that, it's not saying that one of us is better than the other. I think we pass the torch to each other so that we all,
Could align here and
yeah,
there.
we all had the same role, and now we just get to come together being like, okay, we each learned what that role is. We each led this group, and now we get to come and do it together on the same
yeah,
playing field. That's even more powerful. So
Guys,
we're talking sort of before this episode when we decided what we wanted to sort of talk about, when we decided our talking points, and you were talking about that. That's all I could think of, because even though I had it different than in a meditation, I was like, no, I've experienced that. Like we've
yeah,
lived that circle before. And you hadn't said this thing about ascending, but what we did is we didn't ascend like that, but we would go into the water. And like even when I died, my like funeral was like out to sea, so I was like rising in a
mm,
sea. So
yeah.
it's a little different, but it's that similar energy, and it's just cool that we can see. I mean, we're getting super woo-woo straight off the bat, but we can see what we're
the level
doing.
we're playing at, ladies
It's the
and
Divine
gents.
Gossip Girls. What do you think you're here for? But we see what we're doing in this lifetime, and then we get to have those images, and also that knowing that like we've done this before, and this time it gets to be even more powerful.
Do you know what just feels so like I want to share this? This is like in this lifetime. This is today. What happened today? And before we press record, because us being us talk a load of shit for like an hour before we press record. But we were having a conversation about this like rising together, and how I've been doing a lot of collaborations right now, which I love, and I really love. Like I've been initiating them, but this shadow has been coming up of like feeling like that comparison, feeling that fear, feeling that unworthiness, like kind of like come up and say hi. And then I wrote like a kind of journal entry / caption that I'm going to be putting up around this, and what I literally like in quotation marks like said was, we are all rising together, we get to rise together. And I was like, that's so mad how I wrote this like literally an hour before jumping on this call. So we are rising, guys. Like we're now in the same lifetime together. We now get to continue creating magic together in a way where we can just rise together. Not only the three of us, but like everyone who becomes a part of this like podcast community, becomes a part of the Divine Gossip Girls like family, soul tribe. Like we are now all like rising together, and that just like fills my heart, fills my soul, fills my like entire body up with like so much like gratitude and excitement of this way of being, this way of like vibrating as well.
And do it in a way that's not gatekeeping, a way that's easy, a way that you can do this work and also regulate your nervous system at the same time. Like we really like to do this work from a grounded standpoint.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the beauty of the way our, I guess, more spiritual approach is. Like we know how important it is to be rooted and grounded to be able to rise spiritually, because if we don't ground it in the practical, like we might as well just not be humans and floating off into the universe, so you have to ground the spiritual into the humanist and merge them together. So I'm hoping through all of our chats and stuff, it allows you to get a feel for both the rootedness of it and also the cosmic divine side of things as well, and just merging them together.
I think we'll be perfect at bringing that. Like we'll bring the humanness as well as that like spiritual side as well, and that's why I love like melting that subconscious healing and the spirituality together. And I feel like all three of us do really, really well of like being in our humans, but also being in our spirituality as well. So I'm so excited.
And really quick, just to wrap it up here, I just thought I'd let you know what you can kind of expect from this podcast in terms of uploads and things like that. They're going to be every week on Sunday, so you can tune in live the very first day, or you can, come back and listen to them all. But the very first podcast of each month that we'll try and do it either like the very first Sunday of that month or the one before, just so that you have it for the full month. What we're going to do is a forecast episode. We're kind of, playing on that idea of Gossip Girl, like blog columnist, news anchor sort of thing. And we're going to give you a forecast where Karlie's going to look at the tarot card. She's going to pull some tarot and see what the month has in store energetically. I'm going to bring you through an astrology forecast and break down sort of what that means for you. And then Sophie's going to take both of these things and really help you to set intentions and implement them, and give you things that you can take throughout the month to work with that energy in a way that is easy, in a way that it fits into your life, and in a way that can be really impactful, but like we were saying before, grounding, so you can root to rise. So we're going to have one episode like that, and then we'll also have weekly uploads where we just chat about something energetically that has been sitting heavy with us, that's been sitting heavy with our community, that's been exciting about something we're doing. We're each going to bring a topic, and the 3 episodes are going to be led by one of us each week, and we'll all chat about it. But they will be weekly episodes where we can sit down, have some spiritual chats with each other, with you. If there's anything you'd love us to talk about, DM us, tag us, let us know, put it in a review, put it in a question box that'll pop up on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. But we are just so excited to bring you this podcast and to just get a little outlet for our woo-woo spiritual sides.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited for what's to come. So thank you guys so much for tuning into our first episode. We're going to drop all of our Instagram links below. If you aren't following all three of us, Maggie, Sophie, and I, please do. We would love to know who is tuning into this podcast. And also, please, please, please leave a review. Leave us suggestions, whatever it is, on iTunes, on Spotify, so that this podcast can get its name out there and we can begin to grow and just create a spiritual community that feels welcoming and open and abundant and expansive. So thank you guys for tuning in. We will chat with you in our next episode. Bye.